Record.
Yeah, good day class once again. And again, we get into the end of the class. I know we've covered so much. And then, yeah, so today we're just going to talk about monitoring. And then just for today, basically, you don't really need to know too much on monitoring. It depends on company. Some company will not really require you as a DevOps person to do monitoring, but some we want you to know some monitoring, at least have the idea how to create dashboard, how to do stuff. And, so we'll be looking at one of the tools that's very popular in the market. And then we're going to just play around with it and see what you can do. So that during your interview, at least you'll find something you can talk about monitoring and alerting. So today, this will be our agenda. We're going to talk about monitoring. We're going to, we're going to talk about monitoring, continuous monitoring, talk about what metrics are, alerting. Then we're going to do some introduction to Datadog. Then we're going to do labs on Datadog. So let's get that. So what is monitoring? So again, so far in this class, we've been doing more of development, how the developer write their code, push it to GitHub, Jenkins pick it up, build the code, do testing, everything, then deploy it to different environments and stuff like that. So what happened is that when these applications start running in the, let's say in production environment, in the main environment where it's running, maybe on the Tomcat server or running in Kubernetes or any environment that these applications are running, they want to, that's where the work of operation people start. And that's where DevOps comes in. Dev or development. Development is where they are building the application, which are mostly developer part. You support them as a DevOps guys, you build the CI/CD. Then operation side is like maintaining the infrastructure itself. Infrastructure like the EC2 you are using to run the server, the databases, different components. So monitoring is very key in the sense that it allows you to monitor the infrastructure like the EC2 or, it could be a lot of them, even the application itself, you can monitor it and see how they perform and stuff like that. So it's very, very critical. And some company, they can have some team working on that, or some they may, like a DevOps people will be doing some monitoring, like creating monitoring dashboard and stuff like that. So today we're going to see, so monitoring provides feedback from production and deliver information about an application performance and usage. So when performance or other issue arises, relevant data about the issues are sent back to development team through automated monitoring. So sometimes you may not even be the one that will be receiving some of this thing. Maybe they want the developer to know how their application is performing. So, you can create those dashboards, allow it to alert the team. Okay, when the CPU utilization gets to 80%, I want the team to be alerted so that they know that something is going on. Or maybe when, sometimes you visit a website, you get 404 error, or, some kind of error, just tell you that maybe the website is down. So those one will be sending some information back to the server, to the monitoring agent or whatever. So they can track all those things. You can set a distance that, okay, if the error rate on this application is more than certain limit, I want an alert to trigger. I want to notify the team. So, then maybe some team, they work, that's when they talk about uptime, talk about service level agreement and all those stuff. They will have the minimum, a maximum downtime they can have in a year. Maybe they cannot have more than 5 minutes downtime within certain time. So they will have all those metrics, all those parameters. So whenever something goes wrong or something is about to go wrong, maybe the disk utilization is getting too heavy, is getting too low, at some point. So you can alert the team, and maybe they will have to do some auto scaling, or maybe log into the server, maybe SSH into the server, try to remove some stuff that are not necessary and stuff like that. Or maybe some applications, some services is consuming a lot of CPU within the distance. You can log into you can SSH into those servers and just see what is going on, which services, which applications taking all this space, or it's taking all this CPU usage. So you can do that through monitoring and stuff like that. So that allows you to maintain a high availability and make sure that the application or the infrastructure is always up and running every time. So as much as possible, again, those companies, they don't want downtime. It's like, they don't really want it at all. As much as possible, it's a big deal to them. I think there was a time Zoom was down, it caused a lot of, it made the news everywhere. I think Zoom was down for like a couple of, like 30 minutes or stuff like that. So it takes time. If you read the book I sent to you guys, the Google SRE book, because monitoring, in some companies, it's more like SRE, which is site reliability engineer, which is a little bit kind of similar to like DevOps. So some company kind of like merge it together in some cases. So, some company doesn't have SRE, site reliability engineer, separately. So DevOps person will be doing literally both the DevOps and so site reliability, basically, they do more of like the operation side, doing the maintenance of the environment, the EC tools, making sure that everything is high available, the infrastructure is always available, running every time, no downtime, all those stuff. They will do like alerting and stuff like that. So, in some company, they require a DevOps guy to do some of all those things too. So, and they kind of going in hand in hand, both of them. Even you, after this thing, you can check out some SRE job, it's very similar to DevOps. And they are a bit more focused on the infrastructure side, like auto scaling, like high availability, all those stuff, making sure the infrastructure is up and running every time. So DevOps to do that, then more DevOps, it's more into like development side, mostly like building the CI/CD pipeline, and doing all those continuous delivery, continuous deployment. So, but yeah, monitoring is very important. So yeah, so we'll talk about a lot of continuous stuff in DevOps, continuous deployment, continuous integration, continuous delivery. One of those is continuous monitoring, which again is it's sometimes called continuous control monitoring. It's an automated process by which DevOps personnel can observe and detect compliance issue and security threat during each phase of the DevOps pipeline. So continuous monitoring comes in at the end of the DevOps pipeline. Again, this comes in at the end when the application is already running, when they completed all the process, the deployment, all those stuff we've gone through in the class. When everything is completed, that's when the monitoring starts. You want to see how the application is performing, because it's more than just deploying the application and everybody go to bed and sleep. It's you have to keep track, see how the user are interacting with it. Everything, you can see it on the monitoring dashboard. You see the error rate, people, the latency, what they call latency, you see everything, the network bandwidth and everything. You're going to see everything, and it's good to monitor them and create a very useful alert and dashboard, so that you can set different parameters. Again, this thing will not based on only you. It will be a lot of meetings going on. Maybe in your company they want to start monitoring and stuff like that. A lot of meetings will go on with different teams, different managers. Okay, what are the metrics we want? We want the CPU. We want the disk usage. We want the memory utilization and all those stuff. They will define it, and they'll be like, okay, let's put it like 60% CPU. If the CPU is going as far as 60%, let's alert the team and stuff like that. So we're going to see some of those, try the basic one, and you see how the alerting work and other stuff. So it provides feedback on what is going on, which allow the relevant people to work on necessary fixes as soon as possible. So, again, it's making, some company, they kind of like work around the clock, literally, because of all those things. So they will have different team, mostly people in SRE do that, but in some company, like DevOps guys can also do that too. So they will say they will be rotating them, like, okay, 2 of you now this week, you'll be on call. So on call means that they can alert you anytime. You can receive alert anytime that something is not going right, based on what they define in the monitoring dashboard, that something is not going right in the environment, on some of the C2 that's running in the distance, that maybe one of them has a very high CPU of 90%. So they will have different team, they will be alerting every week. So this team can be on this, and you can literally wake up, company like Google, that's how they operate. People that will be on call, they can wake up like 1 a.m., troubleshoot their server and stuff like that. If there's a potential, a very big problem coming up, maybe there's some application just shutting down their EC2 or whatever, or maybe there are some security threats, within their environment, those things can alert them based on the monitoring, the setup within all those environments. So it's very critical, and for companies, again, they don't want downtime, they don't want the application to be unavailable anytime, even 5 minutes, they don't want it. They are losing so much money at that point. So these things are very critical to them, and they make sure that, okay, people are always at alert, whenever things go wrong or anything. So that's what continuous monitoring do. Continuously monitor. It's not like you sit down in front of the dashboard and be watching it. No, nobody have time for that. Mostly they will just set it up, create a alarm, what they call alarm, which is alert, kind of like an alert, so that, okay, they will now make some conditions there that, okay, if this happen within this time, do this, trigger an alarm and notify the team. So, sometimes nothing will happen. So, once in a while, you can take a look at the dashboard just to see what is going on and stuff like that. There's not like basically just sit down and be looking at everything every second. No. So, continuous monitoring is about, making sure that those things are always up, and then creating a monitoring solution for all those applications. So again, type of continuous monitoring, there's infrastructure, which is mostly infrastructure monitoring, which is mostly what we're just going to check today. Then there's application monitoring. So application monitoring can be like uptime, how long the application has been running, error rates, how many times does user visit the website and they receive an error message. So those are error rates. So and they cannot define it that if within 5 minutes, if there's error rate of about maybe, let's say 50%, or maybe 20 error rate within 5 minutes, trigger an alarm. But if there's error rates, maybe like 5 error rates in 5 minutes, don't do anything. You can do that. Maybe it's still a bit normal. Of course, nothing is perfect. You can still get error once in a while. But you want to make that assumption, not assumption, that kind of like condition limit that, okay, if the error rate goes beyond, let's say 20 within 5 minutes, within any space of 5 minutes, then trigger an alert all the team members that, okay, there's a problem going on with this application. So, they can do all those stuff, response time, you visit some website, you see it's loading, it's taking like 10 minutes, not 10 minutes, that's exaggerated. You're going to leave that website if it takes 10 minutes to load. But maybe let's say 1 minute, just showing that loading and nothing is coming up. That's response time. It's taking too long for the website to respond. So that's also, you can create an alert based on that, and that, okay, if the response time is beyond, normally, you click on the website, maybe 5 seconds max, you should receive something back. You should receive something back, but you are not receiving anything and it's taking like 30 seconds. I think that would be a problem, and no customer will want that. They will leave your website, leave your application or whatever, go to somewhere else. So you want to trigger it based on, okay, response time. If it is more than 30 minutes, that means there's a problem going on in this application. We need to check the log or, do something about it. So, those are, browser speed and everything. Those are application-based monitoring. Again, the first one is infrastructure itself, which are like the EC2. You want to measure the CPU, the disk, the memory, and all those stuff. Then the next one is application. Then you have network too. The network, that's when you do like throughput, latency, the bandwidth, and all those stuff. The main thing we'll be focusing is the infrastructure server application, because mostly for all this one, developer will be the one to be responsible, because this application based, the second one that says application monitoring, mostly if there's any problem in this side, it's developer people that can easily debug it, that can find the solution, check the log. Okay, why is the error rate getting as much as this? So why is the response time taking so long? It could be some problem like a bug in the application or whatever. So but again, you should understand all those things, maybe how to set it up, how to help the team. Again, this may require the developer to be notified, to be, every team have different requirements. But from the infrastructure perspective, as well as a DevOps person, you want to know what the CPU is doing, the memory, the disk, a lot of all those stuff. So then, yeah. So basically, those are some of the type of the monitoring that we'll be looking at it. So what are metrics? So metrics represent the raw measurement of resource usage or behavior that can be observed and collected through your system. So metrics, we're going to see some of those metrics that we're going to use today. It's represent like a data or some information you can get from your system. For example, on your computer, you have some of the metrics can be the CPU, the RAM memory of your thing, the disk. If you check your disk usage, maybe maybe you have a 1 terabyte memory, you've used maybe 800 gigabytes there. So all those things, it's something you want to measure on your server too, and those are metrics. Those are what these things. So I've seen company, they will ask you about okay, we get to that. So another concept I want to talk about is alerting. Again, monitoring and alerting, they go hand in hand, but different concepts. But if you set up a monitoring, you should have an alert also. You should have something to alert as well. So alerting is the responsive component of a monitoring system that perform action based on changes in metrics. For example, your CPU, you can say that, okay, when my CPU is 60%, is greater than 60%, I want to alert everyone. I want to alert everyone on the team or on the Scrum, what's it called? Maybe Microsoft Team, the one that we use, or any other alerting tools that your team may be using. So you may want to do stuff like that, and that's what alerting is. And again, it's a very, very important concept. Any company that has a monitoring, they always set up alert as well. So the alert will, just like the name, notify you that, okay, maybe through email, sometimes they can come in through your email that, okay, this server in this environment is experiencing very high, very latency. The response rate is getting very high, or maybe the bandwidth is getting too low. Maybe the CPU is going like 90%. So you can receive those two messages sometimes, depending on the company, what they set up. There are different applications to do that. Some of the popular one is PagerDuty. PagerDuty is very popular for alerting. So you can integrate all those things with your monitoring and allow your team members to know what is going on, especially those that can solve the problem. Maybe it's a developer that can troubleshoot on the problem, or maybe some system administrator, if it's some company, or maybe some DevOps guy that can also do that. So it will alert them based on whatever you set. So alerting is very critical. So let's talk about some monitoring and alerting best practices. Again, some of the questions you're probably going to get around monitoring is, okay, how do you implement your monitoring? What are the best practices and stuff like that. So this Google SRE book, Google talk about how they do their monitoring, and I will encourage you guys to take a look at that part. It's a big book, so you may not have time to read everything, but if you read about their monitoring, let me go to Google SRE book. I'm sure you can see my browser. So Google SRE book is a very popular book, and so this is it. I think you can get it free. I think I shared the free version and stuff like that. So it's very big and very popular in the market. I think this is the site reliability engineer. So if you if you go to monitoring distributed system, I think, let me see, you see being on call, practical alerting, if you read some of all these things, it's very, very informative. Google talk about how they implement their alerting, and what are the best practices, and some of the other, I will encourage you, just take a look, just maybe skim through it. And it's a very good book, actually. I read through a lot of pages there. It's very good. Again, it's big, but it's good. And they talk about some very important things that you can really talk about during your interview. Being on call, Google asks some of their team, like I said, that will be on the call in a different distance. Many, you see, they have important areas like search, ads, Gmail, and all those stuff. So they have some of the engineers that will be on call, like, okay, this week, these are the people that will be on call, and so some company does that too, even for DevOps people. So you may not really need to, just understand the concept, some of the best practices, and which Google really talked a lot about, balancing on call and stuff like that. So I will put this in the chat, and you guys can just take, if you have time to read through some of other stuff, it's very good. But some of the things, again, I used to talk about some of other stuff during the interview. It's very, very, it's a very good book. So one of the things that even in Google they talked about is over monitoring. Like, okay, for example, some things that are not even necessary. You don't need to measure it. Like, okay, you're creating a monitoring for EC2 in a development environment. Those you don't really care much about what is going on in development environment like that. So some things are not too relevant, and that one of the things even that book was talking about is avoid some of all those things, make it very simple. Google talked about things that are actionable. That's the only thing that you should monitor, and you should alert on all those things. So don't over monitor things, some things that are not even necessary. You don't have to create a monitoring for them, and maybe monitor how many people, how many this thing, some things that are kind of not necessary. So another thing they talked about, especially when they talked about being on call and stuff like that, is alert fatigue. You don't want your team to be getting alert every time something goes wrong in your environment. For example, maybe you literally create alert for, okay, if there's latency, if there's response time that's more than maybe 1 minute, alarms should be triggered. So you don't want to do that literally. You may want to do that, okay, if the response time is 1 minute and it continue like that, let's say for like 5 minutes, that's when you should trigger at alert. But if that happens maybe once in a while, okay, it may still be okay. You don't want to wake engineers up 1 a.m. because of just a very basic thing, something that doesn't, it's just occur due to some, So it's those are some of the things they talk about avoiding alert fatigue. And they said this, even Google talked about it, that once you create an alert, too many alerts, and they are receiving, it will be difficult for the engineers to focus on which problem to solve. And they, at some point they will kind of like ignore any alert they get, that okay, this is not relevant. And in that way, they may miss the critical alert that may come along the way. And the not to stress the people as well. They have a life. Some people, I mean, all those big companies, that's how they operate. They have all those guys staying up. They can receive alert anytime. But these are some of the best practices that some companies, these are what they want you to talk about. That okay, this stuff. You have idea of how these things works, and because some company, again, they hiring DevOps guys, they have problem they want to solve. So they want you to be like someone that knows stuff, that can give them advice, not just writing script every time, that can give them advice that, okay, this, your monitoring, I think is too heavy. Let's fine tune it. Let's reduce some of the components of the stuff we put on the dashboard or whatever. Understanding some of all those things is very, very critical. And those are some of the things they look out for. So, again, not just the script alone or whatever, the Terraform, but some of all those things, even theoretically understanding them, and, talking like someone with a very good understanding and experience in all those things, it really goes a long way. You see them, they'll be nodding, agree, as well, just try and take a look. If you don't even read any of this thing, check, check the alerting part, the monitoring part in this Google. Some stuff you may not really understand. It's not that long. Some of them, but you will learn one or two things that will definitely help you, and you see all these things are talking about management being on call. It's a very, you can just select and just say, talk about this postmodern culture too. Something that wants you to really take a look as well. Understand what they mean by postmodern culture. Those organizations, what happens is that whenever things goes wrong in the environment, in the infrastructure, they don't point fingers. That's why they say learning from failure. They believe that you don't point fingers. They don't say, oh, is this engineer that go there and that went to that log into the server and make change and do crazy things that bring the stuff down. No, they don't want to do that. They don't want to point fingers, and that's what they call blameless postmodern. So Google practice that, and that's what they talk about in this place. You see the philosophy, Google postmodern philosophy, which talked about not pointing fingers to the team members that okay, you are the one that caused the problem. Rather, focus on how to resolve the problem, how to avoid the problem, how to avoid people from making such mistake in the future. All this Amazon too, they follow. If you read, whenever like a downtime happen, maybe they have a downtime, maybe Zoom have a downtime, or YouTube have a downtime, they used to write what they call postmodern report. Postmodern report is the report they will analyze what happened, the root cause, what they did, every minute they will break it down. I don't know if some of you have come across some of them before. They will do root cause analysis, they'll put everything to the public, allow people to know what really happened. You will read this, you won't see them pointing fingers at, okay, even though it might be one engineer that actually went there and make make changes that shut down everything, but they won't point finger. Rather, they will analyze the whole thing and why that problem happened, and what they are working on to improve it and stuff like that. And that's why they talk about the cost of failure is education. They believe that in SRE culture, they believe that failure it's part of a learning distance. So they want to build their system to be resistant to failure, not avoiding failure itself, but rather resistant to failure, and they're making sure that if anything happens, this thing can bounce back within a minute. So you see the blameless as well that I talked about. You see pointing finger, again, take a look at some of all these things. It's very interesting to read. You see how a big company like Google operates and all those stuff. And then, those are some of the, again, those things are very good to talk about during your interviews. And it sounds like someone that knows what you're talking about. So again, Google SRE book, if you have time to go through some of all those things, they are very, very, it will help a lot. Let's go to, so these are some of the, so again, the other one is ensure that alerts are actionable. So make sure that the alert that you are alerting the team is something they will have to go and fix, not something casually that, okay, maybe CPU is like 40%. You can create a dashboard for that okay, the CPU is 40, but you don't have to alert everyone that CPU is 40% because it's still the user, from user perspective, they are not experiencing any failure or any problem. So you don't have to wake people up in the middle of the night because of that and alert everyone. So those are some of the best practices. Make sure alert went to the right person on the team who is the best able to resolve the issue. Again, maybe it will be a system administrator that you want to alert, or maybe even the developer that have the code running, the people that can troubleshoot on the problem. Those are the people you want to alert. So review alerts when that were received during the week to ensure sufficient information is arriving. Again, these are part of the, they do a lot of meetings, review stuff, and, all those things. So, again, understand this concept is very important, and, you don't really need to cram or just read and stuff. So monitoring and alerting tools, again, in DevOps, there are so many tools, thousands of tools for everything, literally. So, for monitoring and alerting tools, there are a lot of them. There's Nagel, there's PagerDuty. PagerDuty is mostly popular for alerting. There's ELK, which stands for, ELK is different components, put together, which is Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. There's Prometheus, which is very popular for Kubernetes monitoring. There's Splunk. Splunk is popular for logins. Dynatrace, Datadog, this is the one we'll be checking out today. New Relic and AWS CloudWatch. I'm sure some of you doing AWS, you know about cloud. All those cloud providers they have their own distance. But the thing is, cloud provider are like jack of all trade. In some cases, they are master in some of all those some things, but not like Prometheus that the whole company is dedicated for monitoring. So the solution or Datadog that that's the only thing they do, monitoring. So AWS, they have probably 300 plus services. So of course the monitoring is good too, but you won't see a lot of companies using it much like that. Even though they are running AWS, they will still use some of all this third party. They will integrate it with AWS and stuff like that. Again, you learning AWS, they won't teach you Datadog or anything. 100% they will show you CloudWatch, how to use CloudWatch or stuff like that. So most cases, most companies goes with some of all this stuff you are saying here, Prometheus, Splunk, Dynatrace, and Datadog, because those organizations, they are 100% focused on monitoring. They are not, AWS has so many things they are doing, they have the EC2, they have the DynamoDB, have everything. So those are the reason why I'm sure Azure we have their monitoring tools as well, Google Cloud, all of them but these are the popular ones. And again, just know one of them, then you'll be fine, especially one of the third parties one. So yeah. No, then those are, so let's talk about Datadog. It's like a dog, just like the name. This is like their logo. It's a monitoring platform. It's a cloud-based monitoring platform. So basically, what that means is that we don't have to install the software. It's that's what they call SaaS. That's software as a service. So you just have to log in, create an account, log in, and that's it. So again, they have a free trial. Then of course, it's not free for, especially for enterprise, for big companies. They have to pay. But it's a it's a cloud base. You just have to go to the website to do everything. You don't have to install the Datadog itself on your machine. So it features robust features, visualization, alerting, and data consolidation and analysis. So visualization, it's like the dashboard. You see, you see all those metrics, different stuff. The alerting is what I've been talking about. You can get alerting through Datadog as well, everything. Then data consolidation is just aggregating data together from different servers. You can have 10 servers you are putting together, you are monitoring within the same environment. So, and you can do analysis and stuff like that. They enable correlating performance metrics with business impact. Then they offer a free trial, so which is 14 days free trial. And again, the dashboard looks like this. Most monitoring tools have a dashboard almost like this. So that's why you don't really need to bother learning everything. Just understand the concept of one, and it's the company have something different. That's what they will use. They will let you know this. What something. One tool. So different company with different tools they use. So this is how a dashboard looks like. And again, most this is how their dashboard look like too, not just Datadog. You see all those things, overall latency, they have group, backend, production changes, different things you can create monitoring on, and then monitor it, and then make different things. We're going to take a look at Datadog. So Datadog have what they call agent, Datadog agents. So the agent is a software that runs on your host. So, again, like I said, Datadog is a cloud service provider, So, it's a cloud-based software, which is a software as a service. So you use it on the web, like on your browser or whatever. But the machine that you want to monitor, like the EC2 or whatever, that is where you install the agent. So you install the agent on all those machines that you want to track. So those agents will now send information to the Datadog. Like if you see the diagram here, so it will collect all the information from here. This is the agent here with HTTP, whatever, all these things. You don't really need to bother. You just have to install the agent on this environment. Then the agent will send all those metrics to the Datadog website itself that you'll be able to see by yourself. So we're going to do that in the lab, install the agent on 2 EC2 machine. Then we're going to see how we can do stuff with it. It collects events and metrics from host and send them to Datadog, where you can analyze your monitoring and performance data. So this agent will collect different metrics, different information from your, let's say it's EC2 or anything you want to monitor. Then it will send information to Datadog UI. So that's how it works. So this is what we're going to do in the lab today. We're going to create an account. We're going to create an account, a Datadog account. Then we're going to install the agent on host, so which will be some of our EC2 that's running. Then we're going to integrate the host with Datadog. Then we're going to create a dashboard from that. We're going to create an alert. We're going to integrate it with Microsoft Teams. Then maybe when our CPU usage goes to, let's say 90%, we want everyone in the Microsoft team, in our team, to be alerted. So we're going to see how that can work. These are very simple, but again, in the real life, this is how this flow works. Just that may be a little bit complicated, and in our case, we don't really have real application. We don't have traffic that's running, so we're just going to simulate something to to just show high CPU utilization and stuff like that. So let's go to the to dashboard and see what we can do with Datadog. This is the email address I'm going to use. So let me say Datadog sign up or whatever. So if you again, first this thing, you have to create the account from Datadog. So this is how it looks like. Again, it's a website, it's a web base. So you control it on the web, literally, not from like our Jenkins that we are going to access on port 8080. No, this doesn't work like it will be on the web. You just have to install the agent on the host on all the EC2 that you want to use. So any question? Sorry, I forgot to ask that before we go to the lab. No question?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, like, okay, like for instance, maybe if we are monitoring like AWS services, like EC2,
yeah,
wouldn't it be like better to use like CloudWatch or something?
Yeah, again, it's
but you can, but that means you can integrate your Datadog.
Yeah, you can. That's what we're going to do today.
Okay.
Again, CloudWatch is not too.
It's not too. Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not
as
sophisticated as
exactly
Datadog.
Like all
Okay.
those services. Exactly, like all those. Yeah. Again, AWS, they are jack of everything. They put head in everything in all the service where in the real world, people run stuff on AWS, but they don't use all those services. They don't use, instead of using, what's the name of all this thing? Kafka. A lot of people use Kafka for this thing on AWS, SQS. Instead of using SQS that they will teach you during your this thing, a lot of companies will use like Apache Kafka instead of that to do their, what's it called? Queuing messaging or whatever. So all their services is not, I'm not saying that, this thing. The only one that I think is very cool is this CloudWatch event triggers, which you can use it to trigger a lot of things. But I mean, their CloudWatch is cool too, but it's not like sophisticated like some of all those, Datadog. Those one are that's their work 100%. You understand? So it's very, very deep, and most companies, that's what they use, even though they run on AWS, they still use, because the integration with AWS is very, you can do a lot of things integrating with AWS or any cloud this thing you are working with. So, and companies don't want to, again, some company, they use this thing, maybe most companies will not even run 100% on AWS. Maybe they have some things running on AWS, others running on premises, or maybe even some have multi-cloud, others running on maybe Azure or whatever. So all these things allow them to like centralize all those. It doesn't lock them up to a vendor, or maybe in the future they want to move to another cloud provider. So it's that's why sometimes they prefer to use some of all those third party, like all this Ansible that we are doing. AWS has a similar tool like Ansible that does the same thing like Ansible, but again, it's not as popular and as good as tools like Ansible for configuration management. Same thing with maybe CloudFormation. CloudFormation is cool, very cool. Many companies use it, but Terraform is by far more popular and more cool than that. So not all their services are popular like that. That's what happened. So I mean, CloudWatch is okay, and they will, if you are doing AWS certification, they will only teach you CloudWatch. So it's okay. If it's okay, you put it on your resume. CloudWatch. Then put some of all this one too that you know how to use Datadog as well. But some of them they will not even list CloudWatch there. They just list understanding monitoring tools like Prometheus, Grafana, Datadog, New Relic. That's why you're seeing some of all this stuff. So then, yeah. Ben, that's a good question. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. So let's just create account and then let's see how we can use. So for a new user, you're going to have a 14 days free trial on Datadog. So I think that's very cool. So I'm just going to do get started now. Then I have an email I just created because I already created an account and I don't think, even a long time ago, I don't think I'll be qualified for free trial again. But in your case, you can, okay. So let's say Techdavez. Yeah, you can just put your name. I think it's Zed, right? Okay. So Techdavez. Okay. So then creates a password. I'm sure you can see my password. I'm happy for that. So I'm just going to do sign up now. So we're going to see some of the options that we're going to have. So, okay. I think this thing literally triggered to what I did before. Shaking my head. There's a new account. I don't know why it does this. Um, okay. So if I click on get started now, I don't know why it crossed this because I did this before, but this different account. I don't know why it's or is it logging me on my old account? Let me see. Let me check my dashboard. Sure. I think it logs me on my old account. I don't want that. It should give you. I want it to give a interface you can relate to it because this is not the interface you get in your own case. I don't know why. So but basically, if I go to, it crossed this out because I already did stuff like this. So but it's, maybe I should open another cognito this thing. That's what I just do. So if you go to this agent, get started, in your case, I think it will be a little bit different. So these are some of the EC2, some of the server that you want to use to monitor. Again, what we have to do here is, we want to monitor some of our EC2 server. So let me go to EC2 here. So we want to monitor some of our EC2 server through this Datadog. So we have to like integrate it, allow it to talk to each other. So that's why we have to use this the agent. We have to install the agent. We have to install the agent on the machine. Let me stop this. Yeah, I don't like the way this thing. So what I would do is that I will just pick up some server here that I'm going to use to do I'm going to monitor my server. So let me start this, then probably this. So I'm just going to start them. So I will log into them, then I will install this thing. But before I do that, I think, yeah, they're getting started now. So now I selected Ubuntu because I want to monitor, again, you can use it to monitor a lot of things. These are the operating system, Mac OS, Windows, Debian, AWS, Amazon Linux, even Dockers, Kubernetes, a lot of stuff. So since we are using Ubuntu, I'm going to select Ubuntu, then it will tell you the code that you just need to. It's just a one-line code you need to install the agent on your machine, on your EC2. So so this is what we are going to use to it will provide this thing which they call the API key this is what the EC2 we use to communicate with your Datadog. So because we are on AWS environment, the Datadog is in another place entirely. So we want to talk to it. So again, they already give us this thing, nothing to cram here. This is all what we need to install the agents. So if this one start running now, I'm just going to install it on one of, again, you can spin up a new server, it doesn't matter. I already have one running, I have a couple of them running, that's why I don't want to do that. So I don't know, okay, this is Ubuntu. So, I'm just going to paste the command. So I'm just going to paste the command right here. So this is the command, which you will get. So it's going to install this thing. So, and then this is one of them. I want to install it because I want to monitor two server. So I want to install it on this other one again. So, in the real environment, of course, it's not only one server that's running the application. They have a lot of them. So it's, just, so let me clear it and install it on this other one again. So we're going to install it, then we're going to see what we can do with it. So again, this is in your own case, it will be different. The API will be different. So then once you sign up, it will give you the API, it will give you this. Just copy everything and just run it on your EC2. Then it will install so this is almost done. Yeah, so, okay, I think it's still good. We're just going to install it on both of them. Okay, I think this is done. So you need this information. So I'm just going to copy them. All this information, they are very important. So I'm just going to copy them, because we do some stuff with that. Then this, just telling you how to start it, how to start the agent, how to stop it, how to start it basically. Then this configuration file, everything. So I'm just going to copy this. I think I already have it somewhere. Yeah, basically, yeah, this is it right here. So yeah, so yeah, so I'm just going to do this. So your agent is running. So now, if you want to check, if you want to start the agent, this is what you're going to use. Start, stop. Then if you want to check the status as well, let me just check if it is running. So if I paste this now, this is start. So I think it started. Let me change this to status. So it tells us that it's active and it's running. So the agent is running now, and if you know, it can communicate with this thing. Let me see, it's testing. Okay, so yeah, so the agent is up and running at this point. So I think we are good there. So let's see this other one too. If I paste I'll just use this. Sorry, I don't like to type. I just copy and paste. If it's not running, you just have to start it. So I'll change this to status. Again, you don't really need to cram so many things. Just so if you want to stop it, just change this to stop. So basically, most services, that's how they work. I'm just going to do Control C. I don't want to stop it. So the two agents are running now on the EC2, both of the EC2, the EC2 that we have. So if I go right here now, so we have the agent and everything installed. So if I go to the dashboard now, go to infrastructure list, like this. This is the one I had before, like this. So it should, there's no fresh server though. It's supposed to show just two here, but I think this is mapping it with the one I was running before, which I really don't like. That's why I tried to create a fresh account. But for some reason, it just mapped it to this. I don't know. So but these are the two, this thing I created. How do I know that this was name? If I go to my EC2, EC2, this thing, let me show you how I know. So this instance ID, you see I001, blah, 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 ends with 80. If you see right here, if I go back to this is 18. This is this guy here. So the other one starts with 03. If you check on the, let me see, I'll have to go back again for the other one. So it's just the instant ID. I think this is the other one I used. 03 ED, then ends with 30. So if you come here now, so basically Datadog have been able to track our 2EC2, which are these two, this one and this one. So we're able to track both of them now. So then, that's cool. So again, we don't have anything, we can have CPU and everything there. So we don't have anything there, but we've been able to integrate it with Datadog. So what I'm going to do now is, we're going to create a dashboard, what they call a dashboard, to view things and stuff like that, just to familiarize yourself with the stuff on the Datadog. So the dashboard basically represents, just like the name, the visual representation of your metrics, like the CPU and stuff like that. So if I go to dashboard list, so these are the default list that they created, that default dashboard that was created by what's it called, by Datadog. So I'm going to remove this. I created this. Make sure I can remove it. I don't know. So, but this four are the default one that was created. Again, you see how you can install it with AWS. You can install some AWS stuff here. Maybe EBS volume. You want to get a dashboard for that. So I'm just going to click on one of them, which says disk IO. Then we're going to see, which will basically just give us the disk. So you see, these are the disk usage. Again, this is what the dashboard looks like, just telling us the usage for each disk. You can see it's different hosts here. Different, you see the color difference now. These are different EC2 machine. This machine is different from this, then different from this. It's give you, very cool stuff, real-time monitoring. Then, you see the latency, maybe if it gets to this level, that's a problem. You want to do something, then we can say we can do that. But these are default dashboard that you can see. And these are 4 EC2 that have been tracked by Datadog. So but this is just disk UI. So if I go back to the dashboard again, go to dashboard list, then you can see maybe system metrics. Let's see system metrics and let's see what is there. If I click on that, then it basically gives us CPU utilization. We have one of them running crazy. I don't know. So the CPU is very high. You see other ones, they are very low. That's why you only see one that's dominant here. So only one EC2 is having a very crazy time. So you see the memory here. These are the memory utilization. You see the number of gig. This 8 gig. You see one of them has a very high memory usage. I don't know what is there. Then I think these are aggregate. Then this is network. You can see the traffic per seconds. So this is 9K. I'm sure you want this to be high, I guess. So, you can do a lot of things on this dashboard. You can create your own tool and then, do so many things. Then from this scope as well, if I click on the drop down, you can select some of all those EC2 specifically. For example, I can choose this host, I can choose this host now. So this is the only host I want to see. I don't want to see everything. So it's telling me this host, this is the CPU. If I come down again, I select another host. So you can do very interesting things. So this is another host. You see, you can do a lot of filtering, a lot of interesting stuff here. And these are real-time monitoring the way what is going on this EC2. If I trigger something on this EC2, you will see it will come here real time, and then you'll be able to see all the stuff. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to simulate a high CPU utilization on this. I don't know if this EC2 that is taking so much memory or whatever, or CPU, 97%. Let me see. Host 062. I'm going to see them. I'm going to shut it down. 062. Okay, is this Docker? I'm going to log into that. I'm sure I don't know why it's doing. It's having so much CPU utilization, as you can see from here. So the CPU for this guy, this is just one of them. This is just this one host. That's one EC2. You can see the CPU is very high, literally 99%. So I want to see what is going on there and why it is so high, and if I can do some stuff there. So I think it's running now. So let me connect to that particular one. So again, I know because of this number, this instance ID, which is the same thing as what is here. What is here? If I click over on it, you see, all right here, this is it. So I'm going to connect with it and just see what is going on there. So it's complaining about okay, I think it's still loading. Again, you can connect with your favorite SSH clients. You don't have to connect from the browser. I'm just too lazy to be doing that now. So I'm just going to to check this thing, I like to use this command to check CPU usage on my Linux environment, htop. So htop is telling me we don't have actually high CPU. It's only the CPU is low. So why is it? Okay, but yeah, the memory is 303 out of 998 megabytes. So okay, yeah, nothing is wrong with the CPU. The CPU is almost zero. So I don't know why they did that all this, giving us 99. I don't know why this is 99%. But whatever, that's weird. So it shouldn't be 99%. So yeah, but these are what you can do with it, and very cool stuff. But now, let me shut down that server. Then let me see. Let's get to shut it down. So most monitoring tools, they are very similar to this. They have all these things. So another things you want to do is monitor. So this is where you do alerting. So this is where you do alerts. Okay, you want to send emails to every team member. You want to notify people on the team, on the Microsoft team. Can you guys see my team? Can you guys see my Microsoft team? I don't know if I'm not sharing that. Can you guys see Microsoft team on display?
No.
Your data.
No? Okay.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Yeah. What about now? You can say now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this, we're going to use this, to just integrate it with our with our Datadog, then whenever something goes wrong on our EC2, maybe we are having very high CPU utilization. We want everyone to know that okay, things are going on. Again, this account will be general. Everybody will have access to the same Datadog account. It's not like the one I just created on my own. It's not like everyone will be creating a Datadog account. No, it will be a central one. Same thing with EC2. The same EC2 is what everyone will be using. So they just give people different privilege or permission level. It's not like, the same AWS account. It's not like you have your account, I have my account. No, it will be the same account that everyone will be working with. But, it will be, so as a team, we are working together in the district. You just see it in the Microsoft team that, oh, the one server is getting too overloaded with requests, or maybe something is going on with one server, then you can it can trigger an alarm that okay, things are not going right here. What should we do? So we're going to say how we can do that, and that's the alerting part of it. So you do that from this monitoring, but before then you go to this integration. If I click on integration, this stuff just like the name, what a lot of things you can integrate with Datadog, to talk to Datadog and stuff like that. So right now I have this installed. So you have this installed, but in your own case, just search for it, Microsoft team, like this. So we give you Microsoft team, and what you have to do, you see Active Directory as well, a lot of things, Office 365, Exchange, depending on what they want to do, or maybe I want to do PagerDuty, which is also good for this thing. I'll just click on install right here, then it will install it. PagerDuty is good for alerting, you see, for phone, SMS, to your existing monitoring tool and stuff like that. So then we just going to use Microsoft Team right here, which if I click it, I already install it. So I install it, but that doesn't end there. If you remember, we integrate Jenkins with the team the other time. So same way we do that. So if we come in now, if I go here, I'm inside this general, you can have different team here in companies, in organization. They have what they call channel. A lot of them, maybe the DevOps people. I created a few of them. I think we only use this general one. So, but it's okay. We can just stick with this general. But you can create another channel, give it a name. I can add a channel, I will add everyone there, I will give it a name. Then, you have a lot of them. So they will add you based on your district. Maybe if 4 of you are working in the project, you can have a separate channel for between 4 of you. So, and maybe you have another channel that everybody's there, even the developer are there and everything. So those are how it works. So for our channel here, which is general, so I'm going to click on this right arrow here. So this is where you do integration from this thing. Then I'll click on connectors. So if I click on connectors now, so it will tell me a lot of connectors I can do and stuff like that. So you can search for whatever you remember. We use Jenkins. This Datadog integrated it, but in most cases, in your own, you see Datadog somewhere, you just click on add, just like here, just add it. Then once you add it, you go to configure. So you configure it like this, click on configure. So you configure it, then it will give you this, what they call webhook. So we generate this link for you. This is the link you need from a Microsoft team. So again, this can be Slack. Slack is very similar to Microsoft team. So Slack to work in a very similar way like this. So it said notification will be sent about the following events in Datadog, alert events, graph, annotation, and stuff like that. Okay, so you just need this webhook. Again, you just have to go to configure. Let me do it again so that you get it. Go to connector, and then then Datadog. So I'm in Datadog, the same way I did with Jenkins, if you remember that. So, I click on this thing now, then, I just copy this webhook link. This is the link. And again, it gives you the instruction on how to use it. Click it, save to register the webhook. Then in Datadog, it said go to integration, Microsoft team, add channel. It gives you instruction on even how to use it on the other end, which is on Datadog. Because again, we want to integrate these two together. So I copy it. I always make sure I copy several times just to make sure. So then I click on save right here. So then I'm just going to leave this one. I think I'm done with this. So I'm going back to my Datadog now. Then if I go back to Datadog integration again, so I'll click on this thing. Then I will add this. Let me delete this. So I will add a channel. So you see add a channel. I'll click on add a channel. You can give it a name. I can say DevOps channel, or just add the name. It doesn't matter. So then this is what you need, which the URL, the one I copied the other time. So I pasted it. It will show like this. So just save it and that's it. So now you have your Microsoft team integrated with Datadog. And so now you don't have to set up the alert that, okay, if the CPU of my system get to, let's say 50%, I want my team to get an alert. So if I go back to my Datadog now, my Microsoft team now, you see we get a notification already. Kenneth has set up a connection to Datadog. So group members will be notified with important information and updates. So this is very important, just to show us this thing. So then let's go back and let's see what we can do. So if I go to monitor here, this is where you create like alerts. You create an alert based on different metrics and stuff like that. So if I go to a new monitor, new monitor like this, then I want to create a monitor. So I'll go to metrics. So metrics will allow you to create monitor like alerts like CPU, different things. This you can do that too, which I'm not too bad. The main thing you just want to focus on is this metrics. So if I click on metrics now, so you see the threshold, you see a lot of things there. Threshold is just limit. If we get to this limit. So what I'm going to do is that, okay, let's select metrics that we need. Again, metrics are the measurable stuff you get from your server, like the CPU, the memory, the disk, and stuff like that. So if I click on this right here, it will give me a lot of options, but what I'm looking for is system, what they call CPU, this thing. So I want CPU, system.cpu.
That's it now.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at. So yeah, system CPU.system. This is the one I want, basically. So then from where? So it's now asking you that, okay, do you want to create this based on a specific, right now we have 4 EC2 that we are tracking, literally. And I can show you how I rename this. I rename one of them to server 1, which you can literally give them a nice name instead of all this random instance ID that it got directly. So you can give them a custom name or whatever, which again, I can show how I do that. So I'm just going to pick up this, again, you can do everywhere basically we'll just find the average of everything. So but it will not be too good for this practical kind of stuff, because we may trigger this thing in one of them. That means you have to like trigger, simulate the CPU and everything. So let's just pick one right here. So we just want to create alert on one of the server now, not everything. So if this particular server goes too high, then average by, okay, let's say everything. So let's leave this as default. So here you select like a percentage. So now it's giving us our current value. This is what we have now. So basically, I think it's putting it in. So here, let me see. Let me see if I say 50%, then warning threshold. Let's say we say, okay, when it's 30%, it should give us a warning. So right now, it's telling us that this is where we are. Yeah, so it's giving us this thing now that, okay, this is where this greater than this, then this is the warning area and stuff like that. So right now, this is where we are. We are very low. We don't have anything. Literally, this is the current state of this blue line. So we want it to alert when we have greater than 50%. So to alert Microsoft team. So I'm just going to leave everything as default right now. Then here you can give it a name. This way you can give it a name that's okay. CPU usage, let me say usage alert. Let's put a scary stuff there so that everyone will know. Then let me say I don't want it to take too long. During the last, let's just say 1 minute so that we can get stuff quickly. Again, you can do a lot of other optional stuff there. So mostly this is very important. You can put a custom message here if you want that, hi team, please take a look at this server, the CPU, stuff like that. You can put a custom message here, which is very optional. And again, we don't have a tag right now. We can create a tag and just tag, put them in a tag. So this is where you want to put your team, notify your team. So here I'm just going to select, this is the team I created now. So you remember the name I gave that channel. So that's the channel, Team DevOps. I'm just going to select that. Do not notify alert respond when this alert is modified. If it's modified, do not notify. If not, we can say, okay, notify, so that if anyone modify this alert, we want to know in the team. So we can, I think it's a nice option to have. So let's test it and see. So if we test this and run it, so it should send a notification, of course. So that's not really what you want to do for the past 4 hours. Let's just say 1 hour. So that's not what we want to do. So let's save it now. So now we basically have I'm sure the alert has been saved, hopefully. Okay, yeah, it's been updated, it's been saved. So if we go to our team now, you will see, this is the test now. You see what is sent to the team member. We don't have anything crazy going on. You see, it's very low right now. So what I'm going to do is that, okay, this is the host machine. I'm going to log in on the host, then I'm going to 001A. I'm going to log in on the machine, then 001A. I want to know the machine. So I want to put a very high CPU on this machine, and let's see if we are going to get notification from our team. So right now, this is the one that we created now. This particular one, it said no data. So this is the one I just created. Again, you can have a lot of them, a lot of alerts based on what you want. So, this one I created it previously, so I can remove it, not to confuse you. So this is the one that we just created, we give it a name. So I'm just going to 001. This is the server now. This is the server that we are tracking. So, okay, I think I need to refresh this. So this is the server we are tracking. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to simulate a high CPU. If I do H-stop right here, you see the CPU usage is 0.7, literally nothing crazy going on here. So we shouldn't get.
Sorry, H-stop, is that like a Linux command or?
Yeah, it's a Linux command. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good to allow you to see the CPU usage, the memory, and stuff like that in a very nice format. So you can use top alone. The top, I don't think top will format it like this. If I do top, yeah, you see top, it will give you a nice stuff like this. And then to exit, just press Q. So Q will take you out from there. If not, it will just hang you there. So if I do it stop again, you see literally we have 0 this thing. So let me do Q and exit. So I have a command here, which I think I can share also, or you can just look it up. I look it up actually. Again, I'm not this thing. Just look how to stress your CPU or whatever. So this is the command for me to. I want to stress the CPU for this machine now. So let me clear my screen. Then I'm just going to paste it. You know, it's just some kind of looping stuff going on there. So the shell scripting, whatever, but you don't really need to bother. But basically, what this command will do, it will produce a ICPU.
Activity, okay.
Exactly, or because we don't have a real server that is serving people. We don't have a server that has a website that 10 million people are visiting. We don't have that right now to really show how traffic used to be. This is what used to happen in real life when too many people are bombarded their websites and stuff like that. You know, the CPU goes up, this thing, you know, everything, and you know, it's a good way to just simulate it and see. So now, you know, it just run and that's it. Let me run it stop and just see the magic that's going on here. So you see our CPU up here 100%. It's running very high, like it's literally max it. So the CPU is high now, and you know, we're in trouble. The website is this. So let's see if our alert triggers. So right now we don't have anything yet, but you know, it checks every 1 minute, I think. So if we just wait a little bit, just within a minute, we should be able to get an alert that, okay, guys, team, you need to check on this website, something is going on there. So, so we just still going to see, if I go to my this thing now, so, okay, it says it's a usage now. So, you know, again, if I refresh this later, it will tell you that it's an alert. It says okay now. This is the alert. You know, I think it will take a minute before it will aggregate it within a minute before it produce a something is going on. So, and that's what you want to do. You want to give it like a time window that, okay, if the CPU, you don't just want to alert if there's a spike. If the CPU just go to 100 and goes back to 20 again, you know, it's not a big deal like that. But if it stays that way for certain time, maybe for 2 minutes, if it stays above 50%, then that's the problem, you know, and that's what you want to do. You want to give it all those time window, you know, maybe a minute. You know, in our case, is a minute. Within a minute, it should trigger something that, okay, this thing is, you know, if we look at our stuff, it's still showing right here. Let's stay wait a little bit and see what you see. Each point is 1 minute window, so it will take 1 minute to trigger this alert. Yeah, you see it's in warning state now. You see it's a yellow state. You remember we specify warning state. Then warning state is, I think we put 30% for warning state. So now it changed to warning state, and I'm sure yeah, very soon it will change to alert. So let's see if we have a trigger from our team. You see we have a trigger already. This is warning. So now we have this warning which says that it gave us like a snapshot. You know, automatically I didn't copy and paste this thing there. You know, it got it directly from Datadog. So give us the detail, the information, the name of the server, you know, the CPU that is greater than 30. So the CPU is greater than 30 at this point. That's where it triggers. So if it's greater than 50 now, which that will be the next thing that will happen, you know, to trigger another one. So that this thing is greater than 50, and you know, everybody will start like, okay, what's going on? Which server is that? How should we do that? So, you know, it's still in this thing. Let me refresh it and see if we're in alert state now. And I think this will take a minute or so together, and it let us know that we will notify our team. So, you know, those are, you know, important, very this thing you can do. And again, if we do it stop, you see our CPU is still going high. You know, it doesn't stop, it stay high. So then I'll just do Q to quit it. Yeah, let me see if we get a alert for high this thing. We still get warning. So I think it will trigger after 1 minute again for the alert. Yeah, stay in warning. So let me just show you before that. Let me show you some of the configuration of this. So if I do, this the Jenkins server we used the other time, to create a log template here. If I copy this, then I just cut it. Let me cut it and let's see, take a look at what is there. I think this is the installation log anyway. So but what I'm interested in here is this YAML file. So when we install the agent, automatically it creates this file for us. So, I then create it.
He's just walking around the house. Go and sit down somewhere there.
Go and sit down somewhere. Yeah, so if I check what is inside this directory, again, when we install the agent, it creates this thing for us by default. So if I do sudo cat, because if you just do cat, it will not really get you. You see what is there, it's a lot of YAML, this thing. Everything is commented out, based on what you want to use. So let me just show you what I want to do here. So I will do, instead of cat, I will do vim. I want to edit this YAML file. So I want to edit this YAML file. So one interesting thing, so this is the API key. This is the key that it generates for us by default. You see, all these things, they are commented out. So they are just explaining how this thing works. And this is a site. So in an organization now, you can have a custom site here. You can have something like maybe Apple, maybe it's Apple that's using this, it's Apple dot, or maybe, they will have like a custom domain name at this point, which is where they will be accessing their distance. So, these are some of the configuration they will set up. Another thing I just want to show is the, let me see, the host name. So you see the host name is commented like this out. So I will uncomment it, then I will change the name. So let me call it Docker server. These are Docker servers, so I'll call it Docker server. So instead of us getting that random instance ID, so Datadog will see this name, we will call it this name, and that way we'll be able to track our stuff very well. You can do environment variable too. If you go down, you can do tagging as well. Maybe you have some that belong to the same environment like dev, and so you can tag it, and you can do all those stuff here. So, and then so basically, but the only thing I want to change add is this Docker. What's this? I don't know. Let me see. So the only thing I want to change is this Docker, is this host name. So let me do DD. What's going to do? Why is this thing the end of this? Okay. What to do? I don't want to mess up with it. So I just do Q. I'm not going to edit it. I just do Q. So I will redo it again, which is this. Where is it again? The host name. Okay. What is this name again? Why is this thing done like this? Yeah, this is not normal. I think I have to.
Look at the host name there.
Yeah, the host name is there, but then the way is okay. I've seen it. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to use the SSH client to just log in directly because it's messing up the format. So I just say Docker server again. Docker server. So you can say maybe server 1 or whatever you are trying to name it with. So once you do that, what you want to do is you want to restart the agent. So to do the restart again, I can't remember I think it's system, whatever. So I'll just get the command again and restart it, which is this. Then I will just change it to restart. Again, most of all those things, though, So instead of start here, we change it to the start like this. So we'll start it, and this is what this guy should be saying. It may not reflect immediately, but let's see if our stuff is in alert state now. It's still in warning state for some reason. I don't know. It should be in alert state by now. Then let me go to the team and see. The team still only have warning. That's surprising. But I think we only asked it to trigger once. That's what happened. And they only trigger for the warning alone, not the main alert. When the reason this has gone beyond, we should have gone beyond the distance, should have been in red phase, not yellow. So then, yeah, just get the idea. So let's see the name now. If I go to infrastructure list like this, so we still have the old name there, or it's not even there. Okay, we still have the old name there. I think it will take some time before this change to Docker server, the name that we just updated it to. So because this is how I changed the name. As you can see, this is the CPU. This is the one that we did. This thing is strange. So this thing is showing CPU is down. Let me check on the server again. Let me do my htop. Yeah, the CPU is still up. So let me just quit it. For now, okay, so let's just, for some reason, it should trigger the main alert. There's a warning alert. The main alert is when it goes beyond 50%. So but for some reason, it doesn't do that. So what I'm going to do is that, okay, maybe we got the alert, we try to see what is going on in the distance. So then we log in, then we see that we log into the server, then maybe you run your htop command, then you see that, okay, you see, yeah, I think it's just going from 0 to, it's not stable like that. So, so you run the htop command, you see the command, you see the memory utilization. These are the process that are running. These are what they call process ID. So right here, you see this particular one is the one 98.7% is the CPU, is the one that's taking the most space. Again, these are like different applications running on your server, all these things, but they call them like services or, services or processes in this case. So different processes running on that, but this is the particular one taking our stuff, taking our memory. So, as this thing, maybe you want to troubleshoot the server, this is the number you need, the ID. So what I will do, I will run a command called kill. So I just want to kill that particular process or application that's taking us out of space. So I will do 14122 like this. So which is the process ID, this number. So I want to kill it. So I kill it. If I run htop again, you will see that it goes literally down immediately. It's even gone. Like, what you are saying like 100% the other time, it's, the CPU is gone now. We are back to normal, so those are some basics like troubleshooting stuff to do. It shows that we terminated it, and then because we killed that particular one. Maybe you are not happy with anything that's running here and stuff like that. You just want to kill it or remove it. You can just run the command with the process ID, so it will just take it off, and that's it. So our distance should be back to normal. Our if we go to our Datadog now, we should be back to normal now. And if we go to monitoring, it's still in warning state for some. It will take a minute before it gets all the metrics. Then it will you see it was, for some reason it didn't go above 50%. I'm surprised because it shows us that it's literally running 100% on the stuff. So that's why we didn't get alert for the other one, for the alert itself. We only go for the warning because it was only in the warning spectrum. So it should have gone above this. I don't know why it didn't do that. It's very strange. So that basically, normally if I refresh this in a minute now, they should go down. They should go down because we already kill it now. So it should be going down now. But again, we take a minute before it does that. So let me see if our name has been updated. So you see, this is the name now. And it basically creates another one actually. So this is the name that we updated on the stuff, on the agent. So we could have done this even before we do the other stuff. So I think that's what we literally created another host for it, which is not what we want. So babe, it's okay. Yeah, babe. Yeah, this is the other one. It showed it 4%, so 64% now. So, to create a dashboard, go to dashboard. If you do new dashboard there, you can give it a name, my dashboard or whatever, depending on what the team have, and there's a template you can use to like do your own. Just create where, depending on what you want to do, maybe time series, a lot of things you want to try different, you can be good with different, depending on the requirement actually, so this can require some kind of understanding of how some stuff work. So you can create your own, maybe I want to use this Docker server again, then I want to global show past 5 minutes, different things you can do here. So you can give it a title or leave it blank, and just go to leave it blank. So to create that, you can add another one again. Maybe you want to add a query count, number of query, maybe every 5 seconds, every 5 minutes, how many people query the website or whatever, or this free. So it tells us that, you just want to put that there. You can also do some alerting or formatting. So that will be there too. You can add another wedge, basically, a lot of them, just add it. So the dashboard will be something cool like this that, you'll be able to see some information at a glance, logging into the dashboard, you can see some information, then you can do stuff there. Your alerting as well, will be somewhere here that you can do. This is the one I did previously, very similar. The alert recovered, when it recovered, it alert the team as well, or it triggers alarm here, same way with this. So this is what it's supposed to do for this. And it's supposed to give us another alert that has been recovered. I don't know if it's recovered yet. But this is dashboard, and you can do a lot of cool stuff depending on, if you are a bit good with all this analysis or whatever. Again, you don't really just understand how all these things work. And again, all of them work in a very similar way, a different way of maybe agent. Some of them doesn't use agent or whatever, different ways where they work there. They follow similar this thing. There's a dashboard, there's a metrics to collect like CPU and all those stuff. There's alerts that you want to trigger. There's integration you want to do, and all those cool stuff. So then, from monitoring perspective, honestly, I think, with this, this thing. Just take a look at that Google book again, do study or whatever, just go through it. It's very, very informative. And yeah, so these are monitoring, these are dashboard, and you can do geo-mapping, maybe where people are visiting the website, all over the world, you can see that, okay, a lot of people are visiting from Africa, you can see all those things on the dashboard, real life, and, do all this stuff. It's a bit more advanced than this, but, these are important things to just know, and you don't really need to know too much. And you can tell that, yeah, you work with Datadog, you created dashboard, work with different metrics, and integrate it with this thing, with Microsoft team, or anything to allow the team members, of editing. Just talk about some of all those things that you don't then need to be an expert. These are group work that all of you will sit down and analyze stuff, and back and forth argument. We can add a lot here as well. Okay, choose a lot CPU. This is the one I created. So the alert can be on the dashboard. You can put it there. So now it says no data. Then it's very cool. And again, most of them work the same way, very similar way. And just if you know Datadog, you know it. You can talk about it. You'll be good. Yeah, they should be good. Yeah, then I think for a Datadog perspective, any question, guys?
Just a simple question. That Jira that I always hear about, is it like Microsoft Team?
Not really. A little bit different from Team. It's different from Team.
What is it used for? Is it like just?
Yeah, it's mostly for project management, to manage projects, to track. For example, now, you will have they will give you a task when you started. That's where all this like Scrum, like all these comes in. It's it's used for project management rather than collaboration. Team is like collaboration, like you see, chatting, doing all those stuff. Making group this thing. But in Jira, that's where your task is. You log into your Jira, you see the task they assign to you. That okay, you are going to install this on the server today. You are going to build a pipeline. So it will be there. That's where every team member, you go there, you see the tasks you have, then you see what you have to work on. Then you see the progress too. For example, now when you call something like a user story, so the user story will have like the requirements of what they want to do and stuff like that. So for example, okay, create something or maybe integrate something to pipeline, it will be there in the user story. Then from them, you see they will assign it to your name. Your name will be there, like okay, Yabayomi, David, everybody, all the team members' name will be on Jira. So you go to your own, you click your name, you see anything they assign to you. You see the requirements, what they want you to do, and stuff like that. So you keep updating it. You can update it like that. Okay, this is what I did there. Then you can move it from maybe when they created it, you move it to in progress. Then when you finish with that task, you can move it to. I don't know if we should do some Jira. I will say anyway. Then Jira is it's a very cool, very simple kind of, more like project management.
So basically, all companies use it. I mean.
Yeah, most companies use it. Yeah, almost all. Yeah, it's very popular. Yeah, it's mostly, in some cases you may not really interact directly with it. Just understand. In some cases you have to create something. Sometimes I was asked to create a user story, to create something on Jira. Then when you have your stand-up meeting, the meeting that almost all company will be having every day, in the morning, we call it stand-up. So when you have this stand-up meeting, the person that's leading the stand-up will be on Jira. So we'll be clicking on your name one by one. Okay, David, what do you work on yesterday? What are you working on today? Any roadblock, stuff like that. So they'll be asking every team member one by one. You can say like, okay, this is what I did, and I was having this problem, and today I'll be working on this. That's the 30-second talk that you don't really need to say so many things. We're still going to talk about some of all those aspects in this thing, and then mostly, on the job, that's when you're going to need that most. But yeah, it's very different. What is similar to Team is Slack. The one they call Slack is very, very similar to, yes. So in my team, in my company, and even the other company I've worked with, we have both. We use Microsoft Team, and then Jira for project management and whatever, to manage the project, to track the project and everything. then yeah, this is good for collaboration. Sometimes we make call on the team directly, you know, we can, you know, do other stuff. Yeah. Any other question, guys?
Yeah, when you're trying to set up the monitoring alert, there's one place you choose CPU system over others. Is there any reason for you choosing that particular one?
No, not particular. It's just that you know, CPU is it's a good thing we can really play with like that. And again, if I go back again, I think I'm still sharing my screen. If I go to that manage, manage this thing, you know, let me, or maybe I can create a new one. You know, it takes 2 seconds to do that. So new monitor, you know, if I go to metrics, the AM, you know, I can, instead of doing system, CPU, I can literally do disk use or whatever, you know, disk use. So you can say that, okay, if the disk usage is above certain this thing, you know, do this. So, you know, right now it's telling us this is the disk usage that we have. So that we are using. So this is the disk usage you are using. So then from everywhere, I know we want to select a server, Docker server. So it literally give us, this is what we have. We are using 709 megabits. Maybe you want to alert your team, and I think the total we have, I don't know the total that this have, but you know, you can also see the total disk usage. This is the total disk usage actually, 940. And then so you can, there's a lot of metrics you can do here, you know, not just, we went for this because it's CPU, you know, you can trigger CPU, remove stuff and stuff like that, you know, just to make our simulation easier, you know, and stuff like that. But you can, there are a lot of metrics there. Some of them I don't even really know what they do and stuff like that. But again, depending on the requirement, on what you want to alert on. So, you know, you select that, then you create the alert based on that. So I don't know what CPU stolen is. So we can, you know, but, you know, there's a lot of metrics you can use at this point. So, and then it will give you cool stuff to, yeah, you don't have to do CPU, you know, it could be anything, literally. So just for this usage now, maybe you have to install more stuff on your machine, then you see how it works. You can now specify that, okay, if it's more than 500, you know, 500 is already an alert because we are more than 500. So 500, oh, this is 500 bytes. So we can go like, do this. This is stupid. So, you know, you can say, okay, if it's megabit, that's what they call MIB. It's different from megabyte. So this megabit is MIB, you know, you can specify that, okay, if the disk usage is more than this, alert everyone in the team. Obviously, we are more than that. That's why this thing is red already, even before we create the alert. So, you know, so this, maybe I can say 3330, you know, or whatever, or this. So, you know, you can do that too, or just give it a name, you know, give it, what do we do, you know, where do we put it, what to trigger, and notify your team, and, you know, select the stuff you want to, this monitor need the title, okay, we just have to disk usage, start or whatever, you know. So you can just do that, and you know. So again, already we have high this usage now. So this by default, okay, though I think we are here. So yeah, but you know, if we go to team now, we should be able to see something. I don't know why the team is not working. No, but yeah, it doesn't have to be CPU. It could be anything, you know, based on what they need. It could be, matter of fact, it could be something like, you know, what they call application monitoring, you know, APM, you know, which could be more like maybe the error rate, that, okay, if number of errors are getting too much, or if it's taking 1 minute for people to visit, to load the website. I want to alert. You can choose all those metrics, and then do a lot of stuff. So it doesn't have to be CPU alone. But we just do that because it's a demo. We don't have an application running. We don't have people visiting our website. So, you just have to have the idea and then know how to use all the stuff. You can translate that to any environment, depending on the requirements. Any other questions, guys?
That's all for me.
Okay, yeah. I think monitoring is kind of no scripting, no nothing today, no code, no nothing. I'm sure you guys are happy.
It's forward.
Straightforward. Yeah, that's yeah, but don't take it. Just you can take a look at that Google stuff I said, very cool, see how company like Google works and do all this stuff.